You are being watched right now. Always. Every gesture catalogued, every word weighed, every moment of weakness stored for later use against you. This is not paranoia. It's the architecture of the modern world, where visibility has been rebranded as virtue and concealment as cowardice. They tell you to be authentic, to share your journey, to let people in. What they don't tell you is that every piece of yourself you offer becomes a weapon in someone else's hands. The ancient strategists understood something we've forgotten. Power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't explain, justify, or seek permission. Real power moves in the dark, where intentions remain hidden and vulnerabilities stay protected. While everyone else performs their inner lives for an audience, the truly dangerous ones have learned to disappear in plain sight. You have been conditioned to leak information, to overshare, to broadcast your plans, your pain, your philosophy, and with every reveal you paint a target on your back. Because the world doesn't reward transparency, it exploits it. There are 9 specific things you must never do in public if you want to maintain power, status, and respect. 9 behaviors that transform you from an open book into an unreadable force. Drawing from Stoic philosophy, 19th century strategy, and psychological warfare, this is your guide to becoming strategically invisible. Stop asking for permission. Stop seeking validation. It's time to go dark. Comment, shadow mode activated if you're done being readable. Somewhere along the way we were sold a lie, that vulnerability is courage, that sharing your struggles makes you strong, that the person who opens up the most wins the most respect. This is the rhetoric of a culture that profits from your exposure. Social media platforms monetize your confessions. Self-help gurus package your pain into content. And the people around you, colleagues, competitors, even friends, they're taking notes. Every time you reveal a fear, they learn how to destabilize you. Every time you broadcast a plan, they position themselves to block it. Every time you display an emotion, they understand how to manipulate you. The Stoics knew better. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while keeping his inner world deeply guarded. Epictetus taught freedom through mastery of one's responses. Seneca wielded influence by saying less, not more. These weren't cold men, they were strategic ones. They understood the value of self-control. You've spent your entire life being encouraged toward exposure. Each confession, each public complaint, each display of doubt can weaken your position. But the descent ends here. What follows are 9 principles that will pull you back into the shadows, where power actually lives. Principle 1. Never reveal your next move. The moment you announce your plans, you invite interference, doubt, and sabotage. This isn't mysticism, it's strategy. When you tell people what you're going to do, you give them time to prepare, to position themselves in opposition, to steal your idea, or to tell you why it won't work. You activate their insecurities, their jealousies, and their need to feel superior by predicting your failure. And even if they wish you well, their expectations become a weight you carry, a performance you must now deliver. Sun Tzu wrote that all warfare is based on deception. The general who telegraphs his strategy loses before the battle begins. The entrepreneur who announces the startup gets copied. The artist who shares unfinished work gets critiqued into paralysis. Silence is the ultimate competitive advantage. Marcus Aurelius advised us to focus on the present. Your plans are fragile in their early stages. They need protection, not exposure. They need quiet space to develop away from judgment, advice, and interference. The powerful move in silence. They build in private. They execute without warning. And when the world finally sees what they've done, it's too late to stop them. The opportunity to interfere has passed. So keep your ambitions close. Let your results speak. Let others wonder what you're working on while you're already 10 steps ahead. Ambiguity creates uncertainty. Certainty can create targets. Stay ambiguous. Principle 2. Never complain in public. Complaining is often a confession of powerlessness. Every time you voice dissatisfaction, you announce to the world that something outside your control is controlling you. and competitors, manipulators, or opportunists may hear that announcement clearly. Seneca observed that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality, but when you complain publicly, you don't just suffer, you recruit others into that suffering. You create an audience for your weakness, and worse, you may give people a script for how to break you. They learn which buttons to push, which circumstances destabilize you, and which frustrations render you ineffective. The person who rarely complains becomes a mystery. Are they unbothered, unbreakable, or simply better at handling adversity? It doesn't matter. The perception is the same. This doesn't mean you suppress legitimate grievances or ignore real problems. It means you handle them privately, with precision, and with people who can actually help, not with an audience seeking entertainment from your struggle. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. When you stop complaining, something shifts. You're no longer participating in the collective theater of victimhood. You're no longer bonding over shared misery. Instead, you become the person others watch, wondering how you stay so composed, so unreactive, so mysteriously unbothered. Process your suffering, learn from it, use it as fuel. Silence your complaints, amplify your solutions. Principle 3. Never explain your philosophy. Epictetus said it plainly. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. The moment you start lecturing people about how you live, you become a hypocrite in waiting. Words are cheap, and people are always watching for the gap between what you preach and what you practice. Every unnecessary explanation can become a defense. The person who constantly explains themselves may unconsciously believe they need permission to exist as they are. You don't. Your life is not a thesis that requires defending. Think about the people who talk endlessly about their principles, the fitness influencer who lectures about discipline while missing workouts, the entrepreneur who preaches hustle while accomplishing nothing, the philosopher who explains Stoicism endlessly but crumbles at the first inconvenience. Their words dilute their credibility. They've confused talking about the path with walking it. Meanwhile, the person who lives their values without announcement becomes magnetic. There's no gap to exploit, no hypocrisy to expose. They simply are what others claim to be, and that silent integrity carries more weight than 1,000 explanations. This connects to one of the principles from the 48 laws of power. Always say less than necessary. The more you explain, the more you expose. The less you say, the more room you leave for your actions to speak. So live your philosophy quietly. Let your choices reflect your values. Let your life become the explanation. Principle 4. Master your emotions in public. Your face can leak information. Every expression of frustration, every flash of anger, every visible moment of fear can reveal something about you. And in a competitive world, people may study those reactions for weaknesses. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he had power over his own mind, not over outside events. The Stoic practices emotional mastery, not because feelings don't matter, but because uncontrolled reactions can hand control to others. When people see you constantly rattled, they know they found leverage. When they see you constantly angry, they know which buttons to push. When they see you desperate, they may believe you'll accept bad terms. The composed face can control the room. Poker players understand this. Negotiators understand this. Leaders throughout history have understood this. The person whose emotional state remains controlled is harder to manipulate through provocation. This isn't about becoming cold or inhuman. Feel everything, process everything, but choose carefully where and how you express it. Your emotions are yours. They are not public property, entertainment, or data for others to mine. In private, you can rage, grieve, and celebrate. In public, you can choose composure. The mask isn't necessarily dishonesty. Sometimes it's strategy. Over time, emotional discipline becomes more than a mask. You don't suppress emotion. You master your response to it. Master yourself. Guard your reactions. Stay composed. Principle 5. Never constantly ask for permission. Every unnecessary request for permission can place your judgment beneath someone else's. Once you establish that dynamic, you may begin operating from dependence rather than confidence. Permission seeking is often a habit born from childhood, where authority figures controlled access to everything, but adulthood requires judgment. Your bosses, partners, and peers may have legitimate authority in some situations, but not over every decision in your life. The powerful understand the difference between situations that require approval and situations that require initiative. They don't wait for endless validation, they act. This doesn't mean recklessness, it means trusting your judgment enough to move without constant external approval. Look at entrepreneurs who built before everyone believed in their idea. Look at artists who created before critics approved. Look at leaders who made difficult decisions without waiting for universal consensus. Stop seeking unnecessary permission. Start executing. The world rewards meaningful action. Principle 6. Never seek validation. The need for validation can become a leash. Whoever controls your sense of approval can influence your behavior. When your sense of worth depends entirely on external opinions, you risk becoming a puppet dancing to expectations. Validation seeking shows up everywhere. The entrepreneur who needs investors to believe in the idea before believing in it themselves. The creator who won't publish until everyone says it's good enough. The professional who measures success only through titles and recognition. All of them risk giving strangers the power to define their value. The Stoics understood that external validation creates external dependency. The moment you need someone else to constantly tell you that you're worthy, you give them influence over your emotional state. Meanwhile, the person who develops internal standards becomes harder to control. They set their own goals. They evaluate their own progress. They understand their worth independent of applause or criticism. This doesn't mean ignoring all feedback. It means filtering feedback through your own judgment, rather than allowing it to define your identity. Build an internal validation system so strong that external opinions become data points, not verdicts. Become your own authority. Seek improvement, not approval. And watch how much power you reclaim. Principle 7. Protect your vulnerabilities. Your vulnerabilities deserve protection. The moment you share deeply personal information, you are trusting someone to handle it responsibly. Sometimes that trust is justified, sometimes it isn't. People change, relationships sour, allies become competitors. The person you confided in during a moment of trust may someday use that information during a moment of conflict. This isn't about pretending to be perfect. It's about choosing carefully who earns access to your inner world. Everyone has weaknesses. Everyone has fears. The strategically minded individual works on them rather than broadcasting them to everyone. There is a cultural movement that sometimes confuses oversharing with courage. But vulnerability and oversharing are not the same thing. Real courage can mean asking for help when necessary, working through pain honestly, and trusting the right people. Guard your private world. Work on your vulnerabilities privately. Get help if you need it, especially from qualified professionals. But never mistake oversharing for intimacy. Protect what can hurt you. Principle 8. Never apologize for your ambition. Ambition makes some people uncomfortable. It can remind them of their own complacency. It can disrupt the social equilibrium where everyone agrees to want small, safe things, and the moment you apologize for wanting more, you may begin collaborating in your own diminishment. People may call you arrogant for wanting success, selfish for prioritizing your goals, ruthless for refusing to move at their pace, but ambition itself is not something to be ashamed of. The Stoics taught that we should live according to our nature and develop our potential. If your nature is to build, achieve, create and excel, then don't shrink yourself simply to make others comfortable. You don't owe anyone a smaller dream because your ambition makes them feel inadequate. When you own your ambition, something interesting happens. Some people will recoil. Let them. Others, the people who also refuse to settle, will recognize your drive. They will gravitate toward you. They may want to build alongside you. Your ambition is not a character flaw, it's fuel. It's direction. It's the force that can pull you beyond mediocrity. So stop downplaying it. Stop hiding it behind false humility. Know what you want and pursue it with discipline. Own your hunger. # Principle 9. Never telegraph your discontent. The moment you openly signal dissatisfaction, people may begin preparing for your departure. Whether it's a job, a relationship, or an alliance, they may replace you, sideline you, or reduce their investment in you before you're ready to leave. Think about the employee who constantly complains about their role. Management hears it. Even if the complaints are valid, the message received may be, this person is already halfway out the door. They may stop investing in that employee, stop offering opportunities, quietly begin looking for a replacement. Now contrast that with the employee who remains professional while quietly preparing their next move. They continue performing at a high level while interviewing elsewhere, building leverage and preparing for the future. Then one day, they resign with a better opportunity in hand. They leave on their own terms. Strategic silence doesn't mean accepting mistreatment. It means planning before announcing. If you're unhappy, process it privately. Make your moves carefully. Build your next chapter before you reveal the final page. Don't complain your way out. Leave with purpose and move towards something better. # Final message. You've moved from exposure to protection, from being easily readable to becoming more intentional, from apologetic to self-directed. These 9 principles aren't restrictions, they're armor. They're a framework for a life with stronger boundaries, greater self-control, and less dependence on outside approval. The world may call you closed off, secretive, or calculating. Let them misunderstand. While others perform their lives for an audience, build quietly. While they're seeking validation, create value. While they're explaining themselves, focus on becoming undeniable. You don't need to announce your transformation. You don't need to explain every decision. You don't need permission to grow. The strongest changes often happen quietly. So here's your final instruction. Stay silent about what you've learned. Don't announce your transformation. Don't explain every principle to everyone. Just embody it. Go quiet, build, improve, and let your results speak for you. If you're ready to stop leaking your power and become more composed, disciplined, and unreadable, leave a comment below. ***. Shadow mode activated.